I'm playing more of the Stanley Parable today. Yeah, but Billy.
Yeah?
It's like, what would Jesus do? I'm trying not to drink it, the first thing. Can I just say something? Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you booted the game. A lot of people don't take this, they just leave it call it a day. You actually take the time to set the clock. I appreciate that. I know you care about the experience, you're paying attention. I have no way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, the next time you boot up the game and see the screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whatever time you want. Even if it's not the correct time, you've earned it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. So, can I put 420? Did it start over? Begin the game. I guess, no, I forgot. When you boot up the game, it does start over, kinda.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk.
Can I skip
what
this?
buttons to push, how long to push them, and...
I've done this. Welcome back. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over
Toss a
him.
coin to your
Exile. Thank you for that.
Stanley
Hey,
tossed the bucket
Exile.
tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I have a bucket. It is apparently the bucket I need.
Still
Hey,
no
it's
one
called a
was here.
skitty.
Stanley needed the bucket's
Skitty.
warmth and comfort now more than
Yeah.
ever.
Are you gonna mate it
Perhaps
with a
his boss's
Wilmer?
office was where he'd find answers.
That poor Skitty. Hold on.
Oh, Stanley,
That
can you
poor
feel it?
skitty.
The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy is as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket.
Oh God!
I can really feel
I
it.
swear she's an adult.
It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here.
God
It's
eater.
supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must
Oh
be.
my God,
given
this is
the pressure
funny.
that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even
God.
partially enticing manner? Well, I'd never.
What the hell?
Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences
thank you, Wolfie.
and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your
What the
feelings.
fuck is going
They've
on?
changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it. Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, Broom Closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things. Alright, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
I'm good at this.
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
I think everyone's scarred, Paige.
I don't know what this is. Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
By the way, this door opens now.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Okay. OBKB. I don't know anymore.
I feel high.
Kinda.
How much budget then?
No.
No?
No. There's no...
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him, always. The bucket would. And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the
I am
keypad
making
behind the
this
boss's
bucket
desk,
Wilson.
nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket.
This
did he
bucket
have
is
any
now
notion
Wilson.
that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
You were lucky that my memory is god-awful and shit, otherwise I would have already
But
pressed
Stanley
it.
guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it
I
the
can't
bucket
jump.
all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
Feel white, huh?
Yes, this is certainly the most logical
Fuck you.
explanation.
What's the rule?
You can't jump.
Unless you're Larry Bird.
Huh?
Unless you're Larry Bird. He was the exception.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate.
What is
It would
this?
be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket.
I am
Soothing him,
anthropomorphizing
comforting
this
him,
bucket.
reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Yeah. Except you're not gonna like what I'm
Stanley
gonna
and the
do.
bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both
Don't care.
meet a violent death.
I'm gonna take this bucket to the end.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
No.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Sounds like fun. Whee! Makes this person regret being the narrator for me. Oh, fuck. Well, I'm gonna die.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere.
GLaDOS, help!
Farewell, Stanley.
Oh.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
But my life doesn't matter?
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way.
My life
but this
doesn't
one
matter.
stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Okay, so not that I died. But the fact that the bucket died. Okay.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
I'm getting second banana to a bucket. Okay.
Dang it, how the Templars felt in the War of the Bucket.
25 buckets, a photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. Okay.
I had a bucket problem.
Bucket with 2 handles. This bucket is depicted as having 2 handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. Oh, for having 2 handles! What kind of dystopian world am I in?
Real well. You broke the simulation.
Pretty much. Inferno Bucket, a replica of the Inferno Bucket, which in medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war.
Yeah, sad thing is,
What?
there was a War of the Bucket.
With one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet, in spite of it all, the simple fact remains: no one can control a bucket. Oh, okay.
He who controls the bucket.
Stress bucket. Help. What have I done?
Was it a bucket
Oh.
of friendship?
What is this? Cave drawings of a bucket. Okay.
No
Hey, did
man
you take
can
my
own a
nugget?
I don't know
bucket.
what
Certainly
anyone
not a
just
bucket
watched.
as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man.
Something
who
really
should kneel
weird from
before
what I
the
just saw.
bucket.
The hanging bucket. Wait! So wait, is the only thing I can do is yeet myself off this thing again?
Yep.
Eh. What?
there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and
What is
implements
this?
if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Oh, okay. The end is never the end is loading. The fuck just happened? Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Figurine Finders Committee meeting today in the meeting room. Okay. What the fuck? Oh, wait.
Nani the fuck?
Begin the game again. I just want to see what happens.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Wait.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Did I miss it? I don't know if I missed it or not. I think. Oh,
The
fuck it.
confusion
I'll take
and the
you.
chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
I'll take you with me, I guess.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I legit have no time for this. All I'm doing... There will be a reward for finding them all. Trust the completionist instinct! I died. That's what happened. Stop kidding yourselves. I want them so much. I want to go home. Lies. There will be a cleaning of this wall required. Who are you? 666 lol. Stairs. Something about stairs. Something. Somewhere both red and blue near a fireplace. Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Hey, True.
Hey, True. How are you? True, I did all of Mount Battle in one
All
sitting.
of his co-workers were
Which
gone.
sucked.
What could it mean?
But
Stanley
I did.
decided to go to the meeting room.
The
Perhaps
fuck?
he had simply missed a memo.
I'm not touching that game for a while.
It mirrored. Okay.
Oh. Nani the fuck? Why is it fun to say Nani the fuck?
Because it is.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
I don't care.
Stanley
I'm
clutched
good.
the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
You know what? Fuck you.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him. telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Nope.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section
Nope.
and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Fuck you! Me and the bucket are going places.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
No!
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere.
Intervention.
The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just
Intervention.
sequel content.
I
We're
said
the ones that matter,
intervention.
Stanley. Classic
Get me
characters
outta
from the
here.
first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet.
Get me outta
Because
here.
that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Okay.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to
I
have
tried
to
to play
give
this
something up.
hours, but it can't. I only played it for a couple hours, but still, where the fuck am I going?
Don't you get it, Stanley?
No sense of direction.
We need to
France
get rid of
wrong,
the
you know.
bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand
I'm
new
following the adventure line.
This
It can't be that bad.
is the Bucket Destroyer.
No!
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True,
No, I'm
it
not
also was
getting
not
it.
in the original game, but it's such a well
I
fleshed
like
out
the
character
bucket.
with so much personality that to me
It
it
has
already
stickers
feels
on
as
it.
though it's been part of the cast all along.
It has stickers on it.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does?
No.
It got stickers
Go ahead
on
now,
it.
Stanley.
No.
Say goodbye to the bucket. And
No.
then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
No. No.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait.
Well-
I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters?
I
Well, you see,
refuse.
if you were to
I
really
refuse.
explore the Bucket Destroyer,
Nope,
you'd see
nope,
that its
it's the
desire
companion
to
cube
crush
all over
buckets
again.
is so densely loaded with
I
complexity and
refuse.
nuance that it's really like
It's the
10
companion
personality
cube
traits.
all over
What other
again.
object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom
Nope.
Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket
Mine.
Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this.
My bucket.
Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer
Nope,
until
nope,
you crush
nope,
that damn
nope,
bucket.
nope.
Quickly
I'd rather
now.
die.
The fans are waiting. Do it, the
I
fans.
choose death.
Stanley. Give the fans what they want.
No,
Hurry and
no. What happened? I'm not kidding.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new
Where's
friend.
the
For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
where is the I wanna okay, so now what? The narrator is probably very drunk. I refuse to give up my bucket. It's my bucket.
Is it a bucket of friendship?
Probably. I don't know.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Begin the game again. Button heaven. Button heaven. Okay, I'm over it. I just had to do it once. Okay.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
I'm gonna ignore the bucket. No, I'm taking it with me.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled.
You got no decision with that
He'd
bucket.
never be alone again, not truly alone. Not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his...
Oh.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back
The
to
game
the meeting
ending yet? No. What do you
No,
mean?
said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course,
Oh,
because
not
buckets
yet.
can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he
Nope.
unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Except no. Taking the bucket with me. Yeah.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right
He's
there.
having
It
all
says,
the drugs.
No buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless... What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true...
I want to take the
I
bucket.
think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly.
But
So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
how did you have a seat over there? No. Okay.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not.
I want to go
a
that
bucket.
way. I want to go this way.
let's begin.
Oh, I'm on it.
Item 1. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Fuck you.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a 3D printed
I'm
recreation
leaving.
of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket.
I'm leaving. I'm trying to be an ass.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
I'm gonna
Is this a bucket?
It is a bucket.
Correct. This
What?
is a bucket.
What? Hi, Nicholas.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Yeah.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
What is this?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Let me leave. Let me leave. Let me leave.
Let us leave?
Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing
I'm
isn't
okay.
a bucket.
Just...
Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
Yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even say it out. I've lost all
I broke
sense
him.
of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
I broke him.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No.
Okay, here we go.
No.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket?
Yes.
Every single thing in the game was a bucket. My God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
I gave the narrator an existential crisis.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a
Gets
memo.
mirrored again.
Up we go.
The good old bucket.
Taking it
Just
with me.
Stanley and the bucket, off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
Yeah, fuck you.
This was not the correct way to the
I
meeting
know.
room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
Yeet.
The car.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching. The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Hold on, I have one more thing.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Yeah, I don't care. I just need to check something out. I want to go home. There must be a point to this. Is this some kind of game? Nearby a fireplace, somewhere both red and blue, something to do with stairs, a large room with a bunch of boxes.
to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yeah, no, fuck you. Ew!
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another stanlerine under your belt.
What does that say? The locations of all the figurines.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the words were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. Now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Oh no.
Find me, Stanley! Find me!
What is...
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
What is going on?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Okay. I don't know if I'd be backflipping all the way to work, but... it's blue.
Dabba-dee-dabba-die.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of... Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
No.
This was not the correct way to the meeting
I just
room.
want to see if anything's
Stanley
different.
had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
I'm gonna sit here for a moment.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him,
No, I'll
of course,
go this
because
way.
buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact.
Wait!
He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
How do I get over there?
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Okay.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take...
Whoa! Hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk.
It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually
thank you for-
seriously. Where did I mess up
Thank
the
you for
joke?
reading.
Should I have paused for longer?
Oh,
Or spoken
hi,
quick?
everybody.
Hi, Captain
Oh,
Pipes. Thank you for
kindness is
reading.
difficult. I wish I were better at it, but there isn't exactly an instructional
How
video
are
on
you?
comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
What is comedic timing?
Oh, God.
What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last?
Oh,
Can it
God.
be used to effectively silence your political enemies?
What?
And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These
What?
are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing.
What?
To begin the joke,
I
start
don't
by
know why
stating and
they
spelling
made
your
this.
name. Next, provide a
Yeah,
brief
they did.
synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell
Well,
out
it's the
your name
original
a
game
second
plus
time.
extra stuff.
With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with
No.
the funny" now.
Yeah, I'm done with the funny.
Good. This saying is a perfect
What the
example of
fuck?
expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard
Yeah.
data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, with each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence and who very likely die in a hailstorm
Right.
of bullets and mandibles, All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Okay, then.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So, with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Are you gonna put me on the rails? You're a bitch, you're gonna put me on the rails. Fine.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious
Sean and gave him a
concept.
bucket.
The king of comedy. That's what you'll call
I want
me.
freedom.
Thank goodness we had the instructions.
Freedom. Max of
Otherwise,
freedom.
who knows where we'd be right now.
Freedom.
Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy,
Max of
that's for
freedom.
sure.
I
bucket
guess.
spoke to Stanley.
Oh, the video
bucket
finally
spoke.
published.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Oh, that's done.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Eh.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this was all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley.
I don't care.
I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud? Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Nope.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
But I'm doing what you're asking. Just not when you're asking it.
You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
No.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
I'll make you
What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There was supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But
I
now
feel
the
like I'm
timing
being
completely
interrogated.
off. Joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all
I don't
my
know where the
fault. I
chicken
must have
nuggies
forgotten
are.
that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious
I have no
mistake.
idea where the Dino
I
Nuggies
made a
are.
fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
We'll
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you...
We'll have to make do with fish fingers in the corner.
Prized positions pale in comparison. Yes. Let me try that again, Stanley.
I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No?
You're pale with
Is
shame!
it the delivery?
Yay!
Pale
Bad
with
puns!
shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word?
Bad
to describe it?
puns!
Stanley,
Yay.
it might be so mental. I think I saw it playing guitar. No.
You're
No.
Bad puns, bad puns, bad puns.
Which was the whole I'm no good at these jokes.
What have you done,
I
game?
need more instructional videos. That's exactly.
That bucket is so metal, I saw it playing guitar.
More instructional videos. Let's see.
Do you have the word murder?
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Ah, the embrace of an old friend. A weathered
I'm
companionship
taking the bucket
that
with
stands
me,
the
but I'm
test
gonna
of
go
time.
ahead and try that
Stanley
one ending
clutched the
again.
bucket tightly to his this was
And
not
see
correct
if I just
meeting room.
answer no to
Stanley had
everything,
felt the bucket
that
forward,
nothing is a bucket.
telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was.
Nope.
And the bucket turned out to
Kindly
be correct.
fuck off.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
You have to
Stanley
make
took
do
the
with
door on his
fish
left
fingers.
to go
I like
back
fish
to the
fingers.
meeting room.
Wait, you mean fish sticks?
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo
Fish
lift.
fingers, they're basically fish sticks. Slightly different than how they
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley
Slightly.
figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by one? Excellent. I'm sure it will come to me.
It dropped me down here. Wait. Where is this? Cassette tapes? Man, this is ancient.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track.
What is this?
Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it.
A little tape recorder.
Haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket.
Oh,
But I have to
no.
be careful, because
What
as
have I
soon
done?
as this gets out, there's going to be
What
a
have I
target
done?
on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
What did I do? Okay. I
All
don't
of his
know.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
That was
decided to go to
creepy.
the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Taking the bucket.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those.
I just want to
Stanley
find...
clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not...
I want to
the
do a
way
couple
to the meeting
things.
room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top.
I-
There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Nope. Kindly fuck off. Doing what I want.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't
Nothing
know
is a
what
bucket.
is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point.
Nothing is a
if
bucket.
that's true, well, my goodness. I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the
There's
entire
nothing
rest of
is
the
a
game,
bucket,
if not
nothing
addressed
is-
quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is
let me get
and
past this
isn't
point.
a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
And more game show time.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
I'm just gonna say no to everything.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Looking back.
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Then it's a bucket. But
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
no.
Incorrect. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much.
Fuck off.
Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket.
But nothing is a bucket.
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere.
Everything. Don't you remember? Everything's a bucket. Nothing's a bucket.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something. And therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow
I broke
convinced
him
yourself
again.
that a bucket
Yay.
is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. Yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go. What happened? Is everything gone?
Oh, it's just
Why
the
did everything
same.
disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket? My God, I had no idea. How could... except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news.
We're not buckets!
Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person. All right, here we go.
And restarting again. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very. Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
Can I take this? Can I? Please, 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 please. Please tell me that they thought of this. Bye!
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear.
We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self.
The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket?
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I
What?
stole from his treasured vaults. I was
What?
young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like...
What happened?
My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise,
The
you would
fuck?
have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it. I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone... It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent.
I'm still taking
Stanley
this bucket.
checked his ego and then proceeded onward.
I'm going this way.
Stanley clutched the
I'm
bucket
gonna
tightly
actually
to his
follow.
chest and entered the door on his left.
I am just as confused. Somewhere nearby a fireplace. Okay, well. I know where there's a
Climbing the
fireplace.
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Okay.
Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket...
I just want to get out of this.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Oh.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the stanlerines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one. And then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no stanlerines. None of us can.
What is this? I am confuzzled. I am very confuzzled.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No!
Damn it.
He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's
I was trying to
control.
jump out.
Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along?
Yeah.
To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly. silly birds. The control buttons became active again. Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was short of the best.
Birdies!
And Stanley was happy.
Hummingbirds. Okay. So I'm gonna take the bucket, go actually answer the phone.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace, protective yet delicate, assertive.
And then I'll do the one, but this time I'll actually throw it into the.
This was not the correct way to the
I will
meeting
destroy
room.
it.
But
I
Stanley
will
had
destroy
felt
my
the
pet
bucket
companion
calling to
cube.
him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
And I think
Stanley took
that's
the door
all
on his left
the
to go
endings
back
that
to
you
the
can
meeting
do with the thing, because you can't go past that point.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go good,
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Oh no, I'm gonna get interrogated again. I don't know where the chicky nuggies are.
Now pick up the phone.
Said. This is the sad story of
Don't
a man
I have
named
to go to
Stanley
the
and his bucket. Once
red
upon
and
a
blue?
time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
But I can't take the bucket with me. Because it won't let me.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
So, companion cube.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
I'll do the game, ending game with...
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think. It can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is this awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal. It's sad, I suppose he doesn't need me anymore.
Oh no!
From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Who lived the same day with me over and over.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Go home to work to...
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No.
Oh God!
Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps, if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
No. My bucket. Go back to work, Stanley. Okay, so I'll leave it alone, because...
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to
Kindly
the meeting
fuck
room,
off.
and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, I've had quite enough of you.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
That's sad.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
For not giving me an achievement for that, I'm going to the blue door.
Perhaps you misunderstood.
Nope.
Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked... All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire
it was
story
8
I'd
years.
written
You
out
couldn't have built
specifically
this?
for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that?
It's been 8
God,
years.
and
You
in the
couldn't
end,
have
it
built
was
this.
all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me, you've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
This is the Stanley Parable Worldwide Leaderboard. Good old Neil Skid. Well, this is you. Yeah.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely
This is an
opportunity to
achievement
give
that
it
I
some
will never
playtesting.
get.
You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life.
Hold on. What all happened? Alright. Let's see if I can finish. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this. So I think I'll have to leave this off for another day. Thank you everyone for watching. Have a good day. Bye. Thank you for joining me. It comes in pints, and thank you True for staying and everyone who watched. Bye bye.